Okay. It looks like we are redirected to YouTube. We're live on YouTube from Zoom. Let's go ahead and put it in that mode. Let's double check our audio settings, headphones, headset. Perfect. And let's share our screen. And we're going to do the beta of the browser here. And we're doing that window because that's the one that has Microsoft Designer up and running. Welcome, everyone. This is a Zoom meeting being streamed live to YouTube. And I know that because I can see it on YouTube right now, which is great. I heard the sound, so we know the sound is working. And we're going to talk about the Microsoft Designer preview today. And if you have interest, you are more than welcome to make comments on this YouTube channel or go ahead and join us for the, let's call it the Microsoft Designer preview on LinkedIn. And we're the Microsoft Speakers Club there. That's the easiest place to find us. What we do in the Microsoft Speakers Club is all things Microsoft, and Designer is probably the best example of that as recently as this fall when it was announced. It was announced right before Microsoft Ignite, which was a hybrid conference. And what they showed was the capability of using hundreds of templates and AI generated images. So I could type something like pink flamingo, out of focus in a pond with a Ferris wheel in focus. Let's see if it can get all of that detail. And whether it puts the Ferris wheel behind the pink flamingo or the pink flamingo in front of the. So here's the one that got it all correct with the pink flamingo out of focus and the Ferris wheel in focus. So we could use that one. We can do a graphic. We can do a little video. We can do graphic with embedded information, all sorts of choices here for what we do with our photo and our text. And then you get the idea. These become the basis of what we would download. We can download in different formats. We can remove the made with Designer watermark or leave that in. And if it's a video format, our downloads include MP4 and GIF, graphic interchange format, which is a animation, but a picture format. So it's backwards compatible with photos. You can upload it to many social media platforms as a GIF, where MP4 would be considered a video. And in this case, the MP4 would have no sound by default. Microsoft also has Clipchamp, which is now part of their tools, and they have started create.microsoft.com, which has literally hundreds of templates for different social media, different occasions and holidays, events, interests, hobbies, and business use. And the nice thing about Twitter and Facebook at this point is the Twitter header dimensions, as well as the Facebook cover photo dimensions are both available with photo templates, so that you'd have the correct size to use this for Facebook cover photo or Twitter headers. The one that they're missing from my perspective is the LinkedIn background photo. So the background photo dimensions are not mentioned here. But there's also Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. Those being video platforms, you'll notice too, many of these templates, instead of using Designer, will be customized in Clipchamp, which is a Microsoft acquired program that is web-based and I believe iOS at this point. I heard from that team that they did briefly have an Android version. I thought in the Android store it was spam, or maybe somebody trying to capitalize on the branding. But the team reached out to me on LinkedIn and confirmed that it was them, and that before they were acquired by Microsoft, they were working on an Android version. So the Play Store version of Clipchamp, which no longer downloaded to any of my Android devices, which I found interesting, thought it might be something where you had to take the phone out of a trusted store and allow just any downloads. And that wouldn't be a real good indication for an application you should trust necessarily. But that's create.microsoft.com. And then we have designer.microsoft.com as the two websites that I've used in conjunction with the Designer app. Here's that photo we were working on. It becomes part of my media, so I can go back to the other two designs that were brought, and you can see previous designs. I did something with a couch and a Polaroid and space in my brief description. I did something with a blue washer, and it ended up that the man in front of the washer fixing it was wearing a blue shirt. I meant blue washer, not gentleman wearing a blue shirt. Asked about a computer and somebody using it with a top hat. Might have done something with the focus of these photos, somebody playing in the snow in the street, and then something with conference rooms and with Legos. So several examples with Legos, and then some of our collaborators in the Microsoft Speakers Club are here, as well as media that I brought into the designer.microsoft.com preview. You can do that by uploading from your device or your phone or Google Drive. New designs are capable. They open in new tabs. And then the designs give you some suggestions, including AI and a text generation prompt. You also get upcoming holidays in the templates here. So we have well-known holidays like New Year's Day, and then lesser known holidays like Buffet Day, Science Fiction Day on the 2nd, Festival of Sleep on the 3rd, where I could replace my then blank template. And we can see some suggestions here of different ways to celebrate Festival of Sleep on January 3rd. And then we can make adjustments to these graphics as well. 2023 and the size of it there. And location. Once we get everything, including the font that we want to use correct, we have the capability of saving this. The fonts that are suggested, or the brand fonts that are in use, are something that I suggested they might want to consider the 5 fonts that they were planning to replace the default in Microsoft Office with. These include Skina and some others. So we can search and see if Skina is there. Awesome. Okay. So this is the Skina font. And then if we look at that, we should be getting Skina as the font. Awesome. Okay. So it is there in Designer. And last time I looked, I didn't see it as what looked like a choice. So we could go back to LinkedIn here. Go to another browser where I think I've got LinkedIn open. I actually have to download that too. So there we go, bring it in. Designer 18. One of the 5 new Microsoft fonts someday to replace the default, the M365 apps. Those were announced last spring. Haven't seen any update about which of the 5 will be replacing the default in the Office applications. But when you go into the Office apps, like PowerPoint here, let's share PowerPoint. Let's see if we can show the defaults. So when I go into the defaults and I see Calibre, Skina is one of the choices here as well as these other new fonts that they're considering. So if Skina were the new font, or if Bierstadt became the new one. And several new fonts were choices. What were some of the others? I'm going to say something with a G. Grandview was one of them. And there were 2 others that are escaping me at the moment. But you get the idea. One of these will be the default, and they're obviously available in the different Office applications, including PowerPoint. The other nice thing about PowerPoint is the pictures that we've just taken from our downloads from Designer can be brought into PowerPoint just as easily as they can be brought into other applications. So we would have the ability to bring in these creations, size them appropriately, decide where they're located on a slide, decide if they're in the back or the front, foreground, background, and even move things around a little bit. In PowerPoint. So these designer elements could be used in standalone use or in conjunction with the Office apps if you chose to as well. The background that I'm using in Zoom here, the video background, is actually created out of PowerPoint. So in the same way that we've just shown what we did with that, we could also do this with PowerPoint as well. We can see the video was exported successfully and was pulled into Zoom. The video has just people moving around the office in the background, but I can get creative with what I do with Zoom in these backgrounds by using PowerPoint creatively. So I could insert the photo we just had from Designer and put something about preview for Microsoft Designer in my PowerPoint. You can also resize PowerPoints. So your standard and widescreen are choices, but within here, I could go for custom sizes like 4 inches high by really wide. And then we can see what my preview is going to look like of that. And I could just decide to resize my video. My text already looks like it's in the right spot. And then I could go ahead and export this as a video file. And if I have multiple slides, decide how long the slides are shown, and then go ahead and create a video file out of that. You can also do animated GIFs of differing qualities from there as well. So lots of different options within PowerPoint for what we might do with output from our slideshows. And so that's another way that Designer could be incorporated potentially into what you do on your computer. If we go back to our browser window here, we can then also take a look at other options that we have within the Designer app. We have media that we can pull from our computer or upload. We have visuals, including generated AI. You type in the text, it generates the picture. You'll notice, though, if I do Chinese zodiac, year of the, what was next year? I just learned this. It's a year of the, I thought it was dog, but then I looked it up and it's something totally different. I want to say sheep, but that sounds wrong. Chinese New Year 2023. Let's see. Year of the rabbit. So we go in here and we say we're generating Chinese zodiac year of the rabbit, and it's supposed to do a AI generated photo or picture. We could say as a cartoon or other things. You can see here we're getting some characters, but when I've done anything that I'm expecting written, like LinkedIn logo on a plane, I usually don't get what I'm expecting with either words or logos. So I'm getting something kind of close, but I'm not getting the actual words linked in, which is interesting. And I don't know if that's because it's trying to keep it unique and generated as opposed to an actual LinkedIn logo. But you can see it got the colors pretty close here. It got the words incorrect in all 3 cases. So some interesting results with the AI generated from Designer using DALL-E 2. We can see that information under the I for the generate a image using a description. We also have text. We can choose the fonts. We just saw that. And styles include brand kits that we can create for Designer. In the upper right, we can give Microsoft feedback. We can see what's new. And as part of the feedback as an MVP, most valuable professional, that's one of the aspects that I provide from a community perspective. I gather feedback I've heard from others. I gather the feedback that I've seen in previews like Microsoft Designer, and I have an opportunity to actually meet with the product groups and talk through this feedback and suggestions. When you get your invite to the Designer preview, you also have the ability to send an invite to up to 3 people once you've downloaded your first creation. So with the Microsoft Speakers Club being over 500 followers, and at this point over 400 or 40 people that have collaborated with us, we had a pretty good community to tap into for invites to send to each other, and then each of us got 3 to send to others. So I would estimate we probably sent out over 50 invites at this point amongst the members and the people that have requested them. And then each of those 50 have 3 more when they download their first creation with Designer. And that exponential effect could be easily in the hundreds at this point, just from our little group that has been testing this tool. Part of the Microsoft Speakers Club is written, and that is in the form of a newsletter. So we also produce a monthly newsletter. Sometimes we produce it more than once a month, but if we head back over to my other browser here, see if I can find a tab with LinkedIn open. Here we go. Do a new share of the speaker club. And from here, we can go to our newsletter. So write article. And you can see our newsletter is called Journey to the Cloud News. We can upload headlines and cover images. The cover images can be created with Designer or otherwise, and then the articles can be published. And the nice thing about the publishing is we can have multiple authors included in these articles that we publish. So as opposed to my newsletter and 40 other members of just the Microsoft Speakers Club that have collaborated on Journey to the Cloud, the idea with the Journey to the Cloud News monthly newsletter was to give another way for people to share community contributions, events that are coming up, observations, feedback, etc. And we typically go live at least monthly. One of my goals for 2023 is to get a little more consistent on YouTube and see if I can grow my following on YouTube in the same way that I have on LinkedIn and Twitter and other social media. So this ability to go live from Zoom might be super helpful. The other thing I wanted to look at, and it does not look like it allows me to do this from Zoom directly, is to go to multiple streaming services.